the intelligence community chose to hide things from Trump. I've seen a ton of stuff on this today. Whether or not you like Trump, you hate Trump, you think he's smart, you think he's crazy, you think he's evil, you think he's a blundering, bubbling buffoon, you think he's just a guy, whatever. He is the duly elected president of the United States. There is no one at any time that has the right in an intelligence community to keep things from the president. I don't care if you're an FBI director and you do not like Joe Biden. I don't care if you were a CIA operative who didn't like George W. Bush or Barack Obama or Donald Trump. He's the president of the United States. Either you follow the oath or you don't. And that brings us to, the lovely young lady over in the Strategic Intelligence Services for the CIA and the FBI. Here you go.
Compounding the travesty, the second set of documents we are releasing reveals that members of the deep state, very, very famous group of people, in many cases, in our intelligence agency work to actively suppress and downplay information about the extent of China's sinister election meddling, covering it up from both the president and the American people like nobody thought was possible.
Now, I've seen some of the comments already, and I keep an eye on some of the comments because it's a live stream show. Maybe it's uncouth as a broadcaster to keep an eye on what people are saying during the show, but I like to keep an eye. I have seen comments already that said, well, they had to keep these documents away from Trump. They had to, because if they didn't, then Trump was going to start a nuclear war with China, and they thought he was going to get burn bags and set fire to everything or whatever. No. And by the way, you should know based on Trump's actions that that's absolutely not, in fact, what's going to happen. That he's going to nuke somebody is the most petulant, whining garbage that I have heard yet. But alas, I won't get there until we get through here the president's statements here on the cases of the deep state actually doing some deep stating.
U.S. spy agencies began learning about the compromise of voter registration files in 2020 when they discovered that tens of millions of voter data, think of that, tens of millions of voters' data in 18 states have been bought, stolen, or hacked by China. Yet those responsible for sounding the alarm instead kept the information secret and hidden. They did not disclose to me as president or to anyone else, and to the best of our knowledge, they did not inform Congress. In fact, all they kept saying is, this is the most secure election in the history of our country.
Now, let's get to the screenshot here, some of the information, bits and pieces. So this particular email, some of these things being declassified, quote, all blank has heard/received nothing. We have deliberately massaged our one pending PDB to avoid any direct links to the election. The massive report we have been waiting on has been chopped up into 13 reports so that they will not likely get out until late next week. Many to all of them will be cross-posted into redacted or downgraded to redacted so that they can be more readily incorporated into the 45-day piece if needed. So what does this mean? They watered down the intelligence data and refused to hand it to certain members of the administration. That violates a lot of laws. It is again, it's obviously insubordination. If this was something that benefits a known or legislated adversary of the United States, which according to the US Congress, China is classified as an adversary of the United States, that fits the legal definition of sedition and treason. That is a hangable offense. That's really harsh. I'm sorry. This is one of the cases where I can say, I don't make these rules. Now, hang on, because there's more here. So a lot of different posts. There's one email shown from a Nikki Flores who said, I'm basically running a shadow government across the FBI at this point. When you're trying to suggest that MAGA Republicans, I guess, as Hakeem Jeffries would call them, are all like crazy and the deep state doesn't exist, having someone say, hey, I'm running a shadow government across the FBI from inside the FBI while simultaneously trying to withhold information from the president of the United States. I don't think that's really the move. Then we have one final claim from the president. It's on the number of non-citizens on voter rolls, and then his call to action. And then we'll get into the media response because it's bonkers. So here's the President of the United States on documents and non-citizens on federal election voter rolls.
Finally, to reveal just how vulnerable our elections continue to be, we are releasing the results of a stunning investigation by the Department of Homeland Security. According to the DHS review of state voter rolls and public records, they identified approximately 278,000 non-citizens who are registered to vote in federal elections. Since Democrat states refuse to share their voter files, the real number is actually much higher than that.
Okay, so the claim made by the President of the United States, there are a large number of non-citizens or individuals who should not be voting that are on the voter rolls. And there are a couple of arguments here. So first of all, this is a great reason for states working with the federal government and providing information on voter registration based on other data that the state would likely have before the federal government. So one example cited today by, more traditional conservative commentators, as well as those on the populist side, so both sides of the Republican Party, as it were, have made the case that there are those who are naturalizing. So someone who comes to the United States and they're going to become a citizen on June 15th. They come here, they register to vote, though, in April, and then they become a citizen on June 15th. Like that naturalization process, well, by the time they register to vote, they're not quite naturalized yet. Should they count? How is that updated? Well, if states across the country, blue states, red states, purple states, gave updated address information and updated voter and individual information to the federal government, a lot of that could be fixed. The other thing the President of the United States has called for is for voter rolls to be purged, because if there are individuals who are here who have registered illegally and are not supposed to be voting, then they should be purged from the voter rolls. The idea that you should automatically get to just automatically re-enroll every time so that you're always assumed you're going to be registered to vote is insane, and it's silly. Voting should not just be a wildly easy, just roll over off your couch, click a button, and then that's all you have to do. It should carry a lot more gravity and weight than that. Radio crew, I know you guys have to head out for the weekend. We have way more on the news side here on the live stream. The Tony Kinnett Cast here on the Daily Signal, nationally syndicated and first on 93 WIBC. Audio crew, take care. All right, so the weird thing, though, on the other side of kind of the voter registration and information that we have so far, the Department of Homeland Security's documentation today shows 190,832 non-citizens currently registered to vote in the state of California, 35,152 non-citizens registered to vote in New Jersey, 15,903 non-citizens registered to vote in Nevada, 14,576 non-citizens registered to vote in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And then several representatives cited many of these statistics, not all of them at the same time, and said this is why the Senate needs to pass the Save America Act. Here's the truth. We don't know why some of those individuals who are registered to vote are listed as non-citizen. And I say that from a legal definition, we don't. If someone is going to be kicked off of the voter rolls, then I want to see documented, clear, transparent reasoning as to why. That's it. I want to know why, and I want that to be public. The idea that, oh no, well, it would, what happens if you kick all of these people off the voter rolls? Well then, Jennifer, you tell people, hey, you've been kicked off of the voter roll. John Smith, you should re-register to vote. Go to your local DMV or BMV, show them your ID and other voter identification, and register to vote. Second, checking things. I have wonderfully aggressive ADHD, and some things in life I have medication for and are controlled. My doctor's office will not allow me to just automatically drugs, because it's so easy to be abused, and it is so often abused. So what do I have to do? I have to prove a number of things, even if we know we've all been through this before. Even if my doctor knows it's all fine, we still have to do these various things. And why? Because the opt-in procedure for voting is far more secure than opt-out. And let's face it, Americans, by the data, do not trust the federal government. They don't. They don't trust our institutions. So restoring institutions is better. It is better for Republicans, and it is better for Democrats in the long term. It is. It's a good thing. It is better. It is better that we treat citizenship as something that is worth effort instead of something that should be easier than spray cheese on white bread. Ugh. Now, again, the president's call then is to pass the Save America Act, the voter ID heavy laden piece of legislation.
To all Americans, I ask you to pick up your phone tomorrow, call your representatives in the House and Senate, and demand that they pass the Save America Act without delay. Together, we will restore faith and confidence in our country, and we will be bigger, better, and stronger than ever before.
All right, so 2 things here. One, there are a lot of people on the left side of the aisle that are now saying, well, wait a minute, states' rights. The federal government should not be setting standards for elections on the state side. Well, they do. The federal government already sets the standard for when certain federal elections have to be certified by. Like, those are already requirements that are on the books. There are quite a few, in fact. Additionally, the idea that states are supposed to have control over their elections does not mean flaunting federal law and standards on security, especially on national security. I hate to tell you this, but a state does not have the right to supersede the United States on a national security issue. You don't have a right. You don't have a right to do that. That I don't know what libertarian bumper sticker some of these people got that idea from, that if Montana is, again, if Canada is meddling in Montana elections, which means that the Canada might be filling out false ballots, mail-in ballots, to elect congressmen from the state of Montana, and the U.S. government then basically moves in to help keep Montana elections secure, guess what? The state of Montana can't say a damn thing about it. No. A state doesn't have to go, no, I want Canada to do things. That's not a thing. The Constitution and federal law are not suicide pacts, where if someone is standing next to you and screams, I'm going to murder you in the name of Allah, that's not freedom of religion. That's not a thing. Oh, well, actually, free speech only means you can't shout fire in a crowded theater. Nope. There are actual real big boy and big girl rules. Now, this comes to the Trump administration's needs and what they actually need to do, because we haven't gotten to Mark Warner and the screaming and the crying and everything else. Okay, now, here's my actual issue with Trump and the China thing. I agree with the president and all of what he is saying. So then why are we still taking in 600,000 students from China? If China's this threat, clearly, and they're meddling in elections, as I believe that they are, the evidence shows that quite crystally clear. Why are we importing 600,000 students who go mainly to STEM colleges, and then, as soon as they are done, are given extra time to spend a free year in the United States? They can get federal grants to stay here, and they're hired by all of these big tech and defense firms, and then they send all of that stuff back home to China. And again, we have espionage after espionage after arrest after arrest after arrest of individuals who have come over here from China. If you are actually serious about this, then you have to be serious across the board. And I want to make that clear because I hate cherry picking stuff. I do. You want me to play the election game along with you, Mr. President? Okay, get rid of all 600,000, but they're giving so much money to American universities. I don't care about American universities. I don't care about the universities that have chosen to funnel money into lesbian history, gender, queer dance studies, rather than actually useful things. I would rather that the trades schools, where American students are choosing to go, are given the money, if money has to be given. I don't care about whether Tianjin is sending over students to the United States to receive an education in westernized China. That ain't happening. I also do not think that the United States needs to be given China any special deals on things. If prices are going to go up for something, it should be because we cut China off. Screw China. To quote a famous Hong Kong protester, Mr. Donald Trump, don't trust China. China is asshole. No, if we're going to play this game and China's bad and China's interfering, yes, we need to pass the Save America Act. Absolutely. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. I agree. You're preaching to the choir, and I will sing that tune because I agree with that piece of legislation personally. However, you as the president have the, and I guarantee you Marco Rubio would not have any problem with this. He can invalidate all of those visas today, now, like right now he can. In fact, every Chinese national visa, gone, sent home. Because guess what? China got up in front of the country and said, no, we didn't do anything. Oh, okay. That's real special. Yes. Thank you. That's very, very wonderful. So again, for me right here, I agree with the president, but I don't want to hear about any of this until there are arrests. And I don't want to hear about any of this regarding election stuff until, if we're talking about foreign interference in election, you are the president. I'm on your side here. Don't let someone go, oh, Mr. President, you have to let in all these students. And the Confucius programs here in the country as well. Sorry, for those who are just now joining us for like the very first time, you've never seen this show before. I'm a former science teacher and an administrator from the state of Indiana. And I watched, again, I have 2 master's degrees, both are worthless, one in education technology, one in curriculum development. And I will never forget individuals trying to sell me on China forward curriculum models. Now, again, Todd Blanche and the DOJ is going after Neville Roy Singham. Excellent, great, I love it. Send all of the Chinese students home. Is that a race thing? No, it's not a race thing. It has nothing to do with any of that. It's not an ethnic question, it's a loyalty to Beijing question. There are tons of those who have fled Hong Kong, who have fled communist China, who have come here as refugees to become citizens of the United States and stay here. Those are people that we want. Those who are coming over here to make money off the American system so that they can then send all of that IP back to China to then thwart us on the global stage. How about no?